Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDF44 coming to another video. So I got to correct a mistake that I made in regards to the Los Angeles Lakers. I made a couple videos telling people we only had like 19 games left. Truth of the matter is, when I was looking online, it told me that the season ended in mid-March, and it wouldn't load up the rest of the schedule. I kept trying to refresh, and that was all it showed me. So I literally walked away with that notion. The Lakers actually have about 34 games left, which makes a whole lot more sense being that it's an 82-game schedule. That changes a lot of things of what it is that I was talking about in regards to the teams in terms of the necessary need for us to make decisions sooner or later, or how much time we have left, or how much hope we have left for playoffs and all of that. So that was a major faux pas. But as I make mistakes, I always have the intention to tell you guys how wrong I was, and always have the intention to tell you guys how I'm a flawed, person when it comes to this analyst stuff. Just like anything else, man, just got to make up for mistakes. But I was kind of frustrated about that whole situation because I literally sat there for a good couple minutes saying, where's the rest of the schedule? And it just wouldn't refresh. So I walked away with that notion until I checked it again right now and realized, oh, crap. You serious? I'm sitting up here telling people this, that, and the third. So, yeah, I hope that doesn't make you guys say this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. It was just really one of those situations where, yeah, that's what I saw there. But nevertheless, the Lakers have about 32 games left. And I dropped my phone, but we're still on. 32 games left, still the same situation as it is. We got an all-star break coming up ahead. We got the Portland Trail Blazers and the Clippers on a back-to-back starting on the 2nd, which is like 2 days from now. And our team is still, dealing with the same issues. We still have the same coach, so that means we're going to have the same issues. I'm not really here to rant. I just want to correct the wrong, to be honest with you. The Lakers do not have 19 games left. The season does not end in mid-March like I had thought, and because of it, some of the videos I made were just obsolete and probably laughable for all of you who knew the truth. But anyway, it is what it is, man. Sometimes things like that happen. I just can only make up for it by saying I was wrong, and I'm sorry for giving you guys not so accurate information, to say the absolute least. Now, is there anything really new to talk about in regards to the Lakers? No, it's nothing. Nothing. I think the only thing that I could really share is that LeBron James will definitely not be playing in the Portland game. That swelling hasn't gone down, so they've ruled him out for that game. And I'll do a breakdown of that video as that game becomes closer because we're nowhere near there. Hopefully he will get healthier and that news can change. So, as of right now, we just wait. Happy that the Lakers don't play tonight. Happy that we don't play tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, we aren't ready. We aren't ready for anybody. We need to heal up a little bit. It gives Anthony Davis's another couple of days for his wrist injury to kind of get away from all of that. Hopefully, he can give the Lakers an opportunity to get back home and practice. And that's really what I want to see the Lakers do in the second half of the season, you guys, or hear about. In the previous years, because we didn't have COVID and all this other stuff, the Lakers were really more in tune with practice. You would, on days off when they didn't play, you would have whole practice days where they would go in there and run around. You see a little footage of that, and then you hear them talk about how practice went. If you notice, this team doesn't practice, and that is a big problem, especially when you have some of the holes that we have and some of the issues that we have. I'd like LeBron James to take it upon himself to start implementing his own ideas about how the offense should be run as it pertains to whether he's on the floor or not. We just need somebody to have an offensive imagination in that damn locker room. Seriously. And I say that with an emphasis on damn, because right now it doesn't seem like we can really get anything going. 3 losses in a row to teams that I could argue we should have competed against much better. Obviously, Philly, but that Charlotte game we want to have back, and that Atlanta game was just really hard to watch. It's hard to really say what the Lakers' worst loss was because we've had so many bad losses, but I can honestly say not too many losses frustrated me more than that Atlanta game, because you're seeing a team keep the lead for the majority of the game, and in the end, just give it back up and not respect size, and that being something that we talk about so much, it can just become a broken record and you really get tired of it. So Laker fans are fed up. I'm just an extension of the rest of us feeling the same way. It's just is what it is, man. You'd like to see us make some changes over the next week or 2 weeks as the trade deadline approaches. You'd like to see guys get healthier, and maybe we can have some breakthroughs in regards to how COVID protocol goes. Knock on wood, the Lakers are doing really well, not having anybody go into COVID protocol over the last couple of weeks. I wish it would translate to us having success on the floor, but unfortunately, a fully healthy Laker team or a not so healthy Laker team has the same results. And I tell you, that right there should tell you something. The fact of the matter is, we haven't gained any ground in getting healthier. We haven't. We're the same team we were when AD was out, same team we were before AD got hurt, same team when he comes back. It's the same stuff. And the reason why is because the roster is not the biggest issue we have. It's a major, major issue. But it ain't the biggest one. No, that's a misconception. The biggest issue we have, of course, is who we have putting those players on the floor and the choices and decisions he makes, the small ball nonsense and all of that. Now, I heard Channing Frye's point of view. He was essentially saying you have to give up something, because the Lakers have such issues guarding the perimeter. You can't afford to have Dwight Howard on the floor at most of the time. You just can't do it in his mind. But in my mind, it's like, well, you got to give up something. The Lakers have chosen to give up size, and that doesn't work. So you have to give up something else. Now, guarding the perimeter, you got to play the percentages. How many three-point shots our team's going to hit depends on who you're playing against. But even so, if you look at the Atlanta Hawks, they shot 20-something from behind the three. So I would have liked us to give up the three rather than give up the size. You see what I'm saying? So you got to lose something. You can't just say, the Lakers lose so much in defending the perimeter, so therefore it's best to go small. No, because when you go small, you give up so much in rebounding the basketball. So, what are you willing to give up? I can tell you, you got to play the percentages. And one thing's for sure, we are giving ourselves a much better chance if we have bigger players on the floor because we give ourselves more opportunities at rebounds and less possessions to have to defend, for which we're not good at. If you're rebounding the ball, you don't have to play as much defense. I cannot stress that enough. You know what I mean? If you're stopping other teams from getting offensive rebounds, you don't have to be on that side of the ball getting exploited as much. You get down there and you have more opportunities to have the ball in your hands, to get the ball in your hoop, and that's ultimately outscore the other team, which is what we need to do. So I don't want to hear nothing about, we can't switch. So it's because the Lakers ain't good at switching anyway. If you really look at how this team plays defense, every time we switch, we find ourselves in mismatch situations anyway. And those same three-point shots are going up. I think we have a better chance of having those three-point shots deflected if the players who are contesting those shots are a bit taller. So, you got to give Rob Pelinka some of the blame. He obviously needs to do something to get us some more wing defenders. He obviously needs to do something to get us more centers. And he obviously has to get rid of dead weight. None of that has happened yet. I'm assuming he's working behind the scenes trying to get something done and trying to make sure that what he does makes sense for everything involved. Unfortunately, some of the rumors that are going around are not very exciting for me. I'm not loving some of the rumors I'm hearing. This Buddy Yield thing, that don't help us. No disrespect to Buddy, but he ain't doing much unless he's scoring three-point shots. I don't care to get another three-point shooter. I'm happy with Malik Monk. What we need to do is make sure that we have cap space to sign him. Period. On one of the Lakers channels on YouTube, they were talking about, will the Lakers be able to retain Malik Monk? Now, if I'm not mistaken, we signed Malik Monk to a 2-year deal, if I'm not mistaken. I always thought, even in the beginning, the mid-level exception should have went to him. I never thought of Malik Monk as a lesser talented player than Kendrick Nunn, even though Kendrick Nunn has done more to prove himself in this league because of the opportunities he's had with Miami. And Malik Monk has kind of come along slowly and developing slowly in Charlotte. A lot of the time during his first and second, third season, he didn't average any points, wasn't playing much. He's starting to show people what we always knew. When he came out of college, he was a sniper, just like he's showing with the Lakers. And Charlotte just did not give him those opportunities with so many guards that they had and with him not being developed as he was. But now that he's a Laker, he's proven that he's probably somebody you have to pay. I think it would behoove the Lakers to free up cap space if at all possible to assure that he's not somebody we have to give away and to make sure that we're not thinking about trading him because we don't want to pay him, a la Ivica Zubats. So this is yet another one of those situations where I'm like, look, I know how to fix this team. We just got to do something we desperately don't want to do. And so that is being trade LeBron James and or Anthony Davis. That's the only way you're going to get the assets, you guys. That's it. There's no other way. I would love to tell you there's a better way. I'd love to tell you that's a horrible decision. Of course we shouldn't do that. There's no way we should do that. Yeah, there's no way any team should do that except for us. because we gave away everything for Russell Westbrook, like that actually made some sense, which it did not. But I'm not going to get mad at the fact that we did that, because unfortunately on this channel we championed that bad decision, so it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we know it's a bad decision now, and we have to fix it, and there's no way to do it. The good thing is Russell Westbrook's back to playing well, which means that his trade value should be rising. The fact that he can show that he can still score 35 points and get a triple-double, get big assists and big points, that is a big deal. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do that as long as LeBron James is on the floor for whatever set of reasons. But since LeBron's out, I expect good Brody to be on the floor, or at least good scoring, good stats Brody, because we're still going to have to deal with the turnovers and the poor IQ decision-making, which really reared its ugly head in that Atlanta game and in the Charlotte game. So it is what it is, man. I think that's the problem. Even when he plays well, he still does stuff that reminds you of his flaws, and I just think with that contract, it makes no sense for any team in the league to actually trade for him. None of them. I thought about some of even the teams that were discussed, like the Timberwolves, for example. If they wanted to give us D'Lo, I'd rather have D'Lo, or if you're trying to be the Cleveland Cavaliers in their case, and you want to get rid of Kevin Love, I'd rather have Kevin Love. Simple as that. Kevin Love is playing well right now, and he fits better for what Cleveland's doing. So if I'm them, there's no way. So at the end of the day, you're stuck with Russell Westbrook. THT's value fluctuates, basically lower than it should be. Part of that is his play. Part of that is how we play him. And, and that's why, that's ultimately why I always say you got to fire the coach, because at the end of the day, the consistency of players coming here and playing worse under him does in fact reflect on those players' value, and that trickles into the negotiations that you have when trying to trade those players. I don't know that correlation is really talked about enough in the various conversations about the NBA. I don't think I hear that correlation ever spoken of, but it's just something I understand very, very clearly. If the coach is running bad offense, the players are going to look like they suck. The players look like they're going to suck, no one's going to want to trade for them, period. Fix your offense, you'll raise the value of those players. That's all. That's really what it is. Because franchises have to believe that they're going to be able to raise the value of that player. And if they see them sucking on your team, how can they ever think that themselves? But it's a skewed situation, because we know it's our offense that we run that ultimately makes these players look bad. That's why they look better elsewhere. So it's a vicious cycle. It's something that I'm tired of as it pertains to being a Laker fan and watching young players leave us and play better. And I just hope that before we play the next game, Frank Vogel is fired. Especially now that I realize it's not 18 or 19 games left, but 32 games left. There is time to fix some of this. There is time to implement a new coach and try to get him up to speed before it's time to play in tournament games or what have you. It's time. We got time, unlike what I thought. So hopefully Jeannie Buss will listen to whoever is telling her to fire the man and go ahead and do that, because I know people are telling her that. Just bite the bullet. At the end of the day, it may be a price tag on it that you don't want to pay, but so is watching this team go down the toilet. That's also going to cost you a lot. And that's exactly where we're headed. We're spinning. It's already been flushed. Now we're just waiting to dump down. And that's something that we should not allow to happen. So fix this problem is what I ask as a Laker fan. Or you're going to see people just lose interest. And I was listening to, I think it was Alan Seawood, and one of the people in his comment section, and he mentioned it. He said, Alan, convince me to watch this team. Convince me to keep watching this team. And if that question were posed to myself, I would say, I don't know how to do that. I honestly don't know how to do that, ladies and gentlemen. I am telling you the truth. The only reason why I pay as close attention to this team right now is to keep my channel going. Because when the Lakers suck this bad, I don't watch. As I was saying about 4 weeks ago, the way I play the Lakers when they're bad, 2 ears to them, no eyes on them. In other words, I'm listening to all the guys talking around the game. I'm listening to Alan Sewell. I'm listening to Dan, the Lakers fan. I'm listening to the chatter on the big station. But at the end of the day, it's hard to watch them when they're not performing properly. You know what I mean? This is just not easy to do. And yesterday I was thinking to myself, I could have been watching the Chiefs and the Bengals. I could, what I mean? There were other things that I could have did with my time than to watch them blow a 15-point lead and just make our, make the experience bad. And they're good for that these days, especially without LeBron James out there. So, while I appreciate some of the players that are playing great, ultimately I just think that they're, playing from behind most of the time because of the circumstances that Frank puts them in. And that's always going to be the story until we fire him. So that's what I got to say, man. I think you'll see an immediate improvement. When I say immediate, I mean in the game they fire him. You're going to see this team play better. Watch. You'll see. So long as they don't replace him with another one of his coaches. Now, we know how that went. We brought Fizz up, and Fizz's decisions were just as bad as Frank's. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if he was just working Frank's plan. You know what I mean? Maybe that was what he was doing, but I thought it was a mistake, especially if you want to be somebody who's supported in replacing Frank. You need to kind of buck against Frank's and kind of do things more conventionally, and that was just not what took place. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm out on both of them, and that's just what it is. I like Fitz's personality. I like how he speaks for the team. You know what I mean? He's a good spokesperson. You know what I mean? He knows how to reflect the wishes of the people who he works for and all of that. He knows what to say, how to say it. You know what I mean? But when it came down to his decision making, when he had the team in his reins, it was just, like I said, an extension of Frank. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. So, it is what it is. Now, did he have a choice? Probably not. I don't know. But all I can do is all I can go by is what I see. And what I saw was continued lack of respect for size, and that's just something I won't support in a coaching staff going forward. We're losing games because of it. Simple as that. And I would need somebody to prove to me. That's another thing. I would need someone to prove to me that we are a worse team for playing Dwight Howard. I hear everybody who says that, or rather, don't play him so much because he's ineffective, and we would have spacing issues and blah, 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 even though I know he can hit a set 3-point shot of himself. I know he can. I've seen him do it enough. The percentages tell us he can hit it himself. But guarding the perimeter and all that, I hear y'all. But I need to see us be a worse team because of it. Because what I do see is us being a worse team without him. You see what I'm saying? And we keep running that. So all this hypothetical, if we play Dwight 25 minutes, we're going to be a worse team because we can't defend. Yeah, that's cool. Can we try, though? Can we go that route? Because we refuse to try that, and we haven't worked with what we have been doing. So, yeah, man. An adjustment coach. That's what I'm hoping for. Just give me a coach that's good at making adjustments. Give me somebody who can do the Ty Lue thing. Ty don't stick to no plan. If a guy's hot, he plays him. If a rotation situation isn't any good, the guys who are not rotating properly are sitting down. He'll go into the bottom of his bench if he has to find guys to give him production. He ain't going to just sit there and watch some bullcrap take place. And that is one of the most valuable traits a coach can possibly have at this point. So, that is my spiel. That's what I got to say. I wanted to correct that wrong. The schedule's a lot longer, a lot more extended than I was able to see. So, that's what I got, man. Today's no Laker game, and we're happy about that, believe it or not. That's how bad things have gotten. BDL 44. Peace.